Again tonight. Man, we've all survived a week and got back together again and whoo, ready for a
One more
wild
time.
show. How you doing, Mr. Old Gray-haired Randy? You doing all right?
I'm doing great this week. Last week was too short, and I got my days mixed up, and I don't even know what day it is this week most of the time.
You know, I
Well,
have to. I'm going to just be honest with you. I have to set it down. I'm so old and senile. And junky around the brain anymore. I set an alarm for the show. Mine went off. My wife said, "What's that for?" I said, "To remind me of the show tonight." So that's how bad I am. But of course, then again, Randy must be so bad that the wife keeps him in order because look at that fly flap over there on the light switch over there. See
That's
that?
hey,
What?
she brought it in here and told me to keep my stuff in line.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
And she will hear no more about that dang dress. Anyway, and the hooker is with us again
fired up.
tonight. Yeah, the hooker is with us again tonight. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good, buddy. How are you guys?
Man, I'm just getting along, getting along. That's all I can say this week. It's been a rough one for me, but we'll worry about that later. Mr. Woody, my buddy Woody. How
hey,
you doing, Woody?
hey, I'm doing all right for an old fat guy.
I'm telling you what, I had to hog tie him and twist him around, make him say calf rope just to get him to come on the show. He's got where he's dang shy or something. I don't know what's his problem. But anyway, man, we got you on tonight. Appreciate you coming on, and we're going to talk about going from a pro wrestler. He ain't a Hondo hunter. We put Hondo hunter, but he's a Hondo catcher. Everybody wants to talk about the Volkswagens and catching the Volkswagen-sized catfish, but Woody actually did catch the Volkswagen-sized catfish. So, but yeah, we're going to talk about his days in wrestling and start from there and work our way right on up to the Hondo, the monster fish, the Grande. So, you ready for that one, Mr. Woody?
Yes, sir. I'm excited to talk about it. Of course, anytime you catch a big fish, you like to talk about it.
I heard you. Well, I took a lot of notes. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's okay. That's my grandson's scribbling. Anyway, y'all know me. I don't generally go much by notes. That's why everything's always screwed up. But enough about that. Well, everybody's in here to hear Woody talking about his days of wrestling and how he got started and man, where he's at right now, which is I think he's a pool shark too. I think he's actually gotten a little more into the pool than he has the catfishing lately. So anyway, would he tell us how you got started? I mean, was it something you watched on TV and you just was really enthralled with it? And how did you wind up finding somebody to train you and all that stuff? Tell us how that went about.
All right. Well, when I was just preteen, teenager, me and my cousin, we used to wrestle out in the yard, and I'd pretend I was wrestling too, and he'd pretend he was Tony Atlas, and we'd go at it, buddy. And we always loved wrestling. We'd go to the Memorial Auditorium and watch Goulas wrestling. Watch Jackie Fargo and a bunch of them guys, the Rossies and a bunch of them, the Armstrongs and a bunch of them folks. But we loved wrestling, and I actually had no plans on becoming a pro wrestler. But one day, me and some buddies was at the store, and we was hanging out and talking, and an old wrestler, a local pro wrestler, came by, and he's going, "Man, y'all guys would make good wrestlers. I do training." And I was like, "Oh, man, I'd like to do that." And I had a buddy. He's about 6'5", about 320. He's a big old boy. And I said, "Man," and we played softball together because we played softball religiously. And I called him up and I said, "Hey, man, I know this wrestler and he's going to train us and blah, blah, blah." And my buddy was like, "Yes, sure. A pro wrestler. Sure, we're going to train." So we showed up and trained at the Mountain Wrestling Federation arena in Dalton, Georgia, which was an old warehouse grocery where building. It was a huge building.
Oh, I bet.
So, yeah. And so we trained vigorously twice a week for about, I'm gonna say about 4 months. 4 months before we had our first match. And man, let me tell you, that wrestling training is some of the hardest things I have ever been through. One of the hardest things. I mean, I played sports in school, and none of it was as tough as training to be a pro wrestler. It was rough.
They wanted to see if you really wanted to do it or not back then. They wasn't trying, and I know this from stories that Woody's told and everything. They wasn't trying to get in to get your. They was wanting your money, but they was going to make sure you were tough enough when they put you out there that you was going to be tough enough to go against these guys too. A lot of people think. Go ahead.
They'd ask for a big old chunk of money up front, $1,000, $2,000 non-refundable money. And they try to break you down the first night, and 85% of the people back then would leave. They're like, they'd beat the crap out of you and make you do monkey rolls and Hindu squats till you throw it up all of yourself and make you go. Just keep going and keep going. We didn't do it. They try to run you out. That was the plan, is to get you money, and they didn't want you to stay.
That's messed up.
I've been messed up, but
you ain't got a clue, Steve. It's rough.
Everybody talks about how fake wrestling is, and the outcome is determined. Everybody knows that. But son, I'm gonna tell you what, that's some of the most physical things you'll ever do in all your life. I know I was way past the age to even participate, but I did work out some with some guys that Woody had, and for a few weeks, because we had some matches I had to do, and it's physical. Hitting those ropes, it looks like them ropes just stretch out. Dude, your back will be so bruised and sore just from the ropes. I mean, that's just the ropes. And then training, doing backdrops, bam, 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 over and over and over, and hitting that mat. There's about an inch of pad, and then underneath that pad is all 2x10s across steel. And everybody said, "Oh, you're just falling on a mattress, man." I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you, it's rough. I mean, it is rough. Yeah.
Well, you know what to say, Daryl. They say it's not the fall that hurts; it's that sudden stop.
It's that sudden stop. And you see somebody get suplexed on the concrete floor, they ain't nothing soft there, guys. That's actually hitting concrete.
Well, there's enough of these little shows around now, these small leagues and all, that if you want to see what it's like what the ropes are like, go up and grab them suckers.
Yep. They're steel. Most of them steel inside of a black water hose is what that is. It ain't no cushion on them at all. And they give because of your weight and the way they're done. But anyway, before we go any further, hey, Randy, you want to read the chat right quick and go through that? We've got 22 people in here. Let's say hello to everybody that's in chat right quick.
Welcome in, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Mike Sampson. Mr. Gimpy, we appreciate you being in tonight. Okay, get things under control here. Rowdy Royal, glad to see you. Catch fish with us, Chris. Him and Miss V are both in here gracing us with their presence. David Hughes, Lee Osborne, Jerry Hager, 419 Fishing and Powder Coating. Hey, guys, he does good work on powder coating and bank rod holders. Check him out. Here's my cup.
Yeah, stuff's really pretty.
Yep.
We got Don with Mr. Three Nights. We got Cat Crappie Day Darren. We got 922 Crappie Barbecue. Hey, y'all, keep Bobby and his family in your prayers. He's had a really rough couple of months, and his mom gave him a dog, and his mom died this month. Died in May of this year, and the dog's just passed away, and they're really having a hard time. Keep them in your prayers. We got Muskrat Adventures in here. How you doing tonight, Roger? Da-da-da-da. Everybody just keeps rolling through here. We got things scrolling. Look at Daryl. Oh,
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I ain't got down there yet. I don't know what he's talking about.
Go ahead. Keep going now.
Maybe he's talking about, hey, I get finally get moved up to where I can read. Mr. Gimpy says he was a pro wrestler. His signature move was the figure 4 leg lock. If you don't know, Mr. Gimpy ain't got no legs. So. Tom L.G. Bass is in here tonight. Parker Pursuits is in here.
He's got legs. They're just electronic now.
Well, that's true. With the legs he's got now, he could put the hurt on you.
He was born without them, but he got them now.
Yep. We got Norman Mountain in here. Norman's from right down the road here below us. Glad to have you in here tonight. We got Andrew from Creole Catfishing in. Of course, Jerry Parker. Jerry's got put on Mad Cat's paid fishing.
Yeah, I seen that today.
You know.
Bring that.
He's somebody, baby.
Yeah.
Shoot, yeah. We got the burrito catfishing lady in here. And that's what we're standing at right now.
All right. Well, I'm glad everybody's in here. We got a lot of good comments in there. I know you're calling out now. But I don't know what that deal was he was talking about there about you getting a promotion. Maybe he'll I don't know. Somebody wanted to know if Mr. Hodge was in here tonight. Where was that at, Tom?
Oh my Lord.
Tom wanted to know if that was let's see. Oh, wait a minute. There it is.
Jimmy Hodge.
Jimmy Hodge. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. I promise you that. Woody, I'm gonna say right quick, like, thank you, Woody, for the hard work you did. I asked him to get some video together and some pictures and stuff of Woody was the guy that behind all that stuff when we were doing the our shows and stuff, and he put together a great deal of stuff. And so thanks, Woody, for your hard work doing that for sure.
Thank you.
But anyway, here's a couple of pictures of Woody. Now, Woody's probably like most wrestlers. He don't have any pictures whenever he really first started, probably. But here's one when he's looking all sexy there. What was you there, sexy?
That was I'm doing the centerfold gimmick then.
Let's talk. Ho.
It was an overweight stripper gimmick, and man, it got over really well.
Yeah.
I was wrestling. I was doing a program with White Lightning and Tim Horner there. He's from what's the name of that town?
Tennessee.
Right up there.
No, not Tennessee.
Heck, I can't think of it now to save my life. Morristown,
yeah.
He's from Morristown, Tennessee.
And here he is, his Big Wood right there, and with his partner back then. What was this guy's name? I can't remember.
He went by Big Daddy. Was all he went by.
Big Daddy. Okay.
He was he played football at Southern Georgia. He was a big old boy. Mike Golden trained him, and Ben Throckmorton, when we was wrestling on Comcast Sports South, he put us together and made us tag team champions. We went by the Lumberjacks.
Yeah. And
we had a mouthpiece. His name was Tony Cicero, guy from up New York, a true New Yorker from the Bronx, and Italian, and boy, he had a mouth on him. But what's funny, our manager was bigger than both of us. He was a big old son of a gun.
Here he is wrestling, and none other. That's the Boogie Woogie Man, ain't it?
Yeah, that's actually Rob McBride. He tagged up with Jimmy Valiant and Jimmy Valiant give the Boogie Woogie Man, the Jimmy Valiant Boogie Woogie, give him that gimmick together. That's me doing a drop kick from the top rope.
Yeah,
that was a few miles ago.
Yeah. I just recognized the tights and the long blonde hair.
Oh,
I just think that was the Boogie Woogie Man, because that's what he wore all the time. And we'll get to some of this stuff here in a minute. There he is with the honky tonk man.
Yeah, that's in I remember that match. That's in Shelby, North Carolina. I went from not being on the card to wrestling the honky tonk man that night. So that was a big surprise for me.
So I'm not going to say for sure, but who is that I see in the back right corner? Is that the Undertaker's manager that was done?
Paul Bearer?
Paul Bearer? That looks like him in the background there, Woody.
I don't know if he was there that night or not. I don't think so.
Okay.
Percy Pringle.
Yeah, Percy Pringle.
Yeah, he lived down in around the Mobile area.
Yeah, it looks like him in the background, but it may not be. But anyway, so I'm going to throw a bunch more stuff up here in a few minutes. I'm actually going to throw up one of his matches or a couple of his matches. But so you got started and you had your first match about 4 months after. Now, I guess you still trained after you got started wrestling?
Yeah, I trained for about 2 years. You know, I think when I considered myself a lifelong student. I probably trained for 10 years. I was always picking veterans' brains after I got done with my basic training, and they would work with me and teach me the real good stuff. You know, the other guys just showed me the basics, but you know, like Ted Allen showed me a whole lot of stuff. You know.
That's what I was going to go to next. Is where did is that where your big break come from? Where you got noticed more was with Ted Allen?
Yeah. Ted actually got me in North American Championship Wrestling, like I said, and it was on Comcast Sports South, which was all anywhere that carried the SEC, any SEC games or network, any state that had an SEC team in it. It was in that whole area, so it was all in the southeast there.
And a lot of people, might not know Tim Allen by his name. So, what was he very well known for? What was
he was known as the Masked Nightmare, and they were big in Memphis and Jerry Jarrett's promotion in Memphis, and he was a mainstay there for a long time, and then ended up making his way back to Georgia, and he sold rings, and he had a big NACW run also. You know, he had a permanent pretty much run there when they were going.
Yeah, when he was in Memphis, they had about a 2-year run where they were like really a big deal up there. The Nightmares were. They were and then he left, and then what was his partner's name? He finally took the mask off and just did the makeup. I can't remember.
What was his name? I forgot it now because you asked me.
Yeah, I'm horrible with names, but yeah. But anyway,
I forgot his name now.
So you got with Tim.
Danny Davis.
Danny Davis. That was it, man. Danny Davis. Yeah, that was it. So you got with him, and that's where you pretty much got your break to start doing TV. Is that right?
Yeah, Ted was always running a bunch of spot shows all over the South, and we took off and became best of friends. And he got me in my break, got me in at NACW, and I went over there, and they took a liking to me. And then he introduced me to my buddy Randall Brown, and Randall took a liking to me and kind of pushed me on being the promoter, and they did let me do a little single work. Then when Big Daddy came in, they put us together and they pushed us pretty hard. It was a good run for several years there.
And then you took a little stint with WCW, and I don't know. I got a match here. I don't know. I haven't watched it. Let's see what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, it is set for one fall. Introducing first, from the Sudan, weighing 465 pounds, Abdullah the Butcher.
The bad man from the Sudan making his way to the ring, and a lot of fans in the Atlanta area are already planning on attending the big event in the Omni for World Championship Wrestling on Saturday night, October the 12th.
Who is that young guy?
He is a dangerous, dangerous man, ladies and gentlemen. He's 460 pounds. And he just dropped it all on Jimmy Hawk.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, Abdullah the Butcher.
The Butcher now getting that kendo stick. He completely ignores the rules. And this, I'm sure, is sending it out a message loud and clear to Sting and to Rick Steiner that when you get in a cage in the Omni in Atlanta on Saturday night, October the 12th, it will be hell to pay inside the steel. We've got to take a break. This is terrible. We'll be right back. Therese, he is
That looked like it hurt.
It did. He stood on my head.
Yeah, you cut that out, guys. Y'all. I wish you'd have sent me the whole match. I could have put it on. But
well, the reason I sent clips is so I could send it over on Messenger.
Yeah,
because you can only send so big of files over.
To say that Abdullah Butcher beat the living crap out of that Hodge guy, Anyway, Woody, you don't know that Hodge guy, do you? He was a wimp.
He was wet behind. Old boy was wet behind the ears. I tell you, he was young then.
He beat the living fire, and I'm gonna tell you, there ain't no way that kendo stick to the neck and the head where he was hitting you at. That
it cut me. That thing cut me, son.
Yeah, that's the bad thing, man. Oh, Abdullah the Butcher would take advantage of young people like that, and man,
yeah, they believed him. They believed he was real, but
the reason he was because he was rough. But me and Woody actually got to have him at one of our shows one time, and man, he was just such a nice guy. I don't know if you got to talk after that match or before the match or anything, but was he as nice back then as he was when?
Man, we were back there. We were back there in the back before the match, and he was like, "Oh, it's a be," and he talked like it's right here, real soft, like kind of like Mike Tyson, kind of, didn't it? It sounds a lot like Mike Tyson. And it'll be easy. I'll just do this, and you'll be all right. Yeah, then he beat the out of me.
So
don't believe him, folks. Don't believe him.
No, that was a dance.
Yeah, that was a butt kicker. But then you got a little bit further up the ladder, and you was able to. I got another little. Let's see if I can get it all in line. I'm sorry, I've got all this stuff down. And let's see.
While you're looking there, Daryl, we got a couple more people that come in here. Jeff Bill's here now. John from River Cats Tackle. Paul of P&B Paul. Hooks and Hammock stopped in. And we got Lance and we got Bobcat. Now, Bobcat says he wants to try a figure 4 on Woody. And he wants to wants to do a suplex on you.
Oh, okay. Well, tell him come try it. I don't think he's bad as he thinks he is. I tried to tell the other day that I would put on
you.
Hey, would you like to see Bob get in the ring with Ray Ray? He'd turn him every which way but loose. And Ray Ray was what, about 150 pounds soaking wet? Yeah. All right, I got to know.
With a 30-minute time limit, introducing first the number 1 contender to the Southern Heavyweight Champion from Crow Mountain, Alabama. Here's Big Bad Wood. And his opponent from the First Family of Georgia Wrestling. He's a former WCW Cruiserweight Champion, former NWA National Heavyweight Champion from Marietta, Georgia. Please welcome to Southern All-Star Wrestling, Brad Armstrong. Your referee for this match is Chris Kanzer.
And I got this. That's just the beginning of it. Let me play the match now.
Old school, baby. Old school.
Come on, Big Wood.
He done cheated. He done cheated. Hit him with some brass knuckles right there. But anyway, I guess you won the championship right there. So
Yeah, old Brad, he was one of the nicest guys and one of the best wrestlers that never got that real big push. Man, he was just amazing.
Hey, Buggy wants to know what you had in your hand there.
You know, let me tell you what it was. It was a toilet paper holder. Exactly. I hit him in the throat with a toilet paper holder.
Hey, whatever works.
Hey, I had to do what I had to do.
it was for the money, baby. It was all about the money.
I had to get that belt, baby.
That bling.
So I guess you made you run through all that, and then you decided to start doing promotions yourself, I guess, right?
Yeah, I was living in LJ, and I don't know why. I mean, I'd promoted like at fairs and stuff in my younger days, like ring wrestling and stuff, but I never really wanted to be one of my buddies, I think, said, you should run wrestling. You got a great mind, blah, blah, blah. And so I started running wrestling in LJ, Georgia, and then moved to Blue Ridge and was going to some different places. And I was running in Blue Ridge when that's where I met Daryl Moray sat right there at the Darrington Academy in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Yeah. I actually had watched, I had been to a couple of Woody shows when he was doing LJ shows. And then he started doing them up in Blue Ridge. And it's funny. My son, Michael, wanted to go because I forgot who the wrestler was you even had up there that night. And man, I went up there and the place was full, and I was having such a fun time. We were rooting for the bad guys, and we had the audience all riled up. Man, they were getting upset. Who are these people coming in here wanting these people to win? And boy, we had them all riled up. It had
Can you imagine the people were looking at Daryl and he was making noise and
they were
causing
mad?
a scene?
I can't believe it. No.
Sounds out of character.
Yeah. So we went to 3 or 4, and man, I was just every time I was just on them, and I would be like rooting for the bad guys. I think Woody was like, man, I don't know about this guy. Is he really mad or? So he come over there.
Yeah.
He sat down beside me. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing all right." I said, "I guess you're thinking, what's the world with this guy?" I said, "We're just having a good time, buddy." I said, We just like getting other people riled up. He said, "Well, that's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it." I said, and I asked him, and I was really big. This was right after I had cancer and all, and I was really big in raising money for the American Cancer Society. And I asked him if he did charity shows. He said, "I love to do charity shows." He said, "You got one you want to do?" And I told him about the American Cancer Society. And he goes, "Absolutely." And we agreed on how to do it and everything. And I said, well, let me ask you, we got talking. I said, if I can get 200 people at that show, would you do another one with me? He's like, "Well, yeah, if you can do that. He goes, this day and time, that's hard." And so the first show we put on was called Fighting for a Cause. And I wanted to put a clip on here. And it was, of course, the Fighting with Cause was for the American Cancer Society to combat cancer. And I think we raised like $5,000 in that show, and it was the first show I'd ever done. And man, we had a great time. It was we had a woman wanting to call 911 there because she thought they were trying to kill me in my match.
Well, let me tell you something about that. When he said, do you do fundraisers? And I'm like, yeah, we do, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'll do it on one account. And he said, what's that? I said, if you'll wrestle. I said, if you'll wrestle, and you know all these people, they'll come.
Hey, Daryl,
And,
do I have a picture of that?
Do I have a picture of it?
Yeah, is that the one where I got a picture of it?
No, that's not it. That's further down the mail. We'll bring that up.
Okay.
So, and I was like, I got a guy I'll put you with. He'll take care of you. We'll do a good job. And Daryl trained a little bit and learned and did a good job. He was actually pretty athletic.
Yeah.
And he did a good job. And he wrestled the All-Star.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was really good. We had a good time. Had a nice house. Raised a lot of money for good cause. And it kind of, I guess that's where the blooming relationship of Daryl and Woody began.
The bug got me hard. And he was made it work. He said, "Let's go." And so we did some more shows at different places, and then we decided he had a partner at one time with the name of the show he was doing. So we decided to rename the show and to
separate the brands.
Separate the brand. And that is what we come up with was Georgia Premier Wrestling. So that's what we started coming after that. We got some. This is actually where our logo wound up finishing out. Well, this is some old merch that we had. We used to sell, and that's my old hoodie I had. And Woody and Daryl began from there, and we had some good times. I'll tell you what. I'll show you some of the people that we had. Let's see. This was a good. I'm gonna tell you something. People don't realize some of the wrestlers you think would be some of the meanest guys out there were some of the best guys. And that man right there was a good guy, wasn't he?
Worked his butt off too.
Awesome.
Yeah, X-Pac worked like did a man. He wrestled like he was wrestling on WWE, didn't he? He did not hold back. And after the match, he's like, man, I enjoyed that. He was talking about how good Woody's wrestlers would. I can't say our wrestlers, but they were Woody's wrestlers that he trained. And he's talking about how they had an old school mind and how they had a good mind that he had trained them. So I'll give Woody big ups right there. When you got a guy that is as good as X-Pac was, and people don't realize, they don't remember when he was like the 1, 2, 3 kid and all. He was very, very good technical wrestler. And turned that into some pipeline. He was really good. Let's see what this one is. Oh, this was the Super Show. This is when we had
Super Show.
Yeah. This was one Woody. I was still green behind the ears. Woody actually helped probably got most of these guys, which I did find a couple of them. But we had Billy Gunn and Ricky Steamboat, Vader. Golly, who's the guy on the right? I can't. Steve.
Crazy Steve.
Crazy Steve. Another great guy. Another super guy. I'm gonna tell you, out of these guys, man, the only one we really did not enjoy, and he's dead, but Vader was real hard to work with. Really hard to work with.
Grumpy old man.
Leon, man, Leon White's his real name. Man, he was just grumpy. I thought Billy was going to get him one that night. Billy was ready to go after the show was over with. Billy was really good to work with. Awesome dude. And he was ready to go, and Leon was sitting there. I'm just going to say it. Leon was like mid-card, and Billy was the main card. Well, he wasn't really mid-card. He was like 4DM, but he already wrestled his event and everything. Well, the show's over with, and Leon's back there behind naked, just sitting there huffing and puffing, and everybody's dressed, ready to go. And Billy looked at him and goes, "Are you come get dressed and go with us, or we're going to leave your fat behind because I'm tired?" He said, "Because I ain't sitting here no longer." And Leon goes, "Well, you ain't going to be so mad. I thought he was going to cry." He got ready to win.
Hey, don't let nobody kid you. Billy Gunn is a huge man.
Yes, he is huge.
Yeah, you would think Billy Gunn's bigger than Vader was, and he's just stacked.
Yeah.
He was a huge man. I would not want to make him mad.
Yeah. And Crazy Steve was another.
Generation X.
Yeah.
Back in the day, guy there.
Yeah. And Crazy Steve was another good guy, very good mind and very good guy, and worked with.
We did a lot. Yeah. We did a lot of business with Crazy Steve.
Yeah. And here's another good guy, Al Snow. I'll tell you what, I guess between him and Chick Donovan, they've kept their body in shape longer than anybody I know. Well, Buff has, but poor Chick, what Chick, about 80-year-old and still
still wrestling.
Yeah, still wrestling.
I seen a picture of him the other day. He looks like $1 million still.
Damn.
Yeah. And here's another great show we had, No Limits with Jeff Hardy. Jeff was he was really clean at that time and just a super nice guy too. Really good work. Thing about that people don't know about Jeff, he don't fly. He's scared of flying. So everywhere he goes, he drives to. So he drives there.
All his flying in the ring. That guy's a high flyer.
Yeah.
That was a good night. I think that was probably the most money we ever made at a wrestling event.
Yeah, probably so. Probably the most. No, well, between him and AJ.
AJ, yeah, one of them two.
Yeah. Here's another good one that we enjoyed working with was Gangrel.
That guy's amazing.
I mean, he was about 55 when he worked with us, and would take what we call bumps is whenever he would take them outside the ring, on the side of the ring, just like he was a teenager. I said, man, why are you killing yourself? He said, as long as I can do it, I'm going to do it because I enjoy it. I mean, he would just.
He loves the business.
Yeah, he loved the business.
Hey, some of our guests in here tonight, Gimpy.
Yeah.
He was he met X-Pac, whatever you want to call him, DDP, Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat was Catchfish with us, Chris's hero. Muskrat grew up watching it.
Yeah.
Gimpy met Iron Sheik at a local Walmart, and Sheik pulled him out and all.
Yeah.
Got Lance McCool got talking to Von Erich boys.
Oh yeah, the Von Erichs, boy, that was a bad situation with them boys, but they were good wrestling at one time.
Rogers his dad was big friends with Mick Foley.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Hager chasing Greg Valentine and Wahoo McDaniels around.
Yeah. You worked with Wahoo, didn't you, at one time, Woody?
I worked with Valentine. One of the best matches I ever had in my career was with Greg Valentine.
Yeah.
We tore the house up, buddy. I was like,
he had a good mind.
Yeah, man, he was just solid. We worked a lot alike. We wrestled a lot alike. I'm sorry. We wrestled a lot alike, and he was just amazing to work with.
Yeah.
How many nights a week? How often did you wrestle, Woody?
Well, usually twice a week, sometimes 5 or 6 times a week. Sometimes I'd wrestle 4 or 5 times in a weekend. I would do double shots. I'd do like a matinee show in Knoxville. Then I'd go to South Georgia that night or something. And, it just depends,
And if you did TV taping too, y'all could do several matches too, couldn't you?
Yeah. TV taping, sometimes I would do 3 matches a night on TV tapings. And I probably had, I tried to figure it out one time. I was guessing probably somewhere between 36 and 4,000 matches my career, I guess.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I got a couple
I'm lucky to be alive.
Dang.
You guys, y'all know
who's your
y'all.
favorite wrestler?
I'm sorry.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Oh, without a doubt. Daryl could tell you.
Man from Texas.
Terry Funk. I was a big Terry Funk guy, man. I love me some Terry Funk.
He's cool. Who's your least favorite?
Well, Manny Fernandez. Yeah, I did not get along with Manny Fernandez.
Yeah.
And that's a personal beef thing there. So
So, did you ever wrestle any with Daryl? Were y'all wrestling at the same time, or were y'all just promoting by then?
we mainly did promoting. We did some little stuff. What do you think, Daryl?
Yeah, I'll just go show a couple of these. Here's the Rocky Road Express we had, and then Jerry the King Lawler. And yeah, I was about to get into that. We didn't really wrestle each other, but we were promoters. And see, during all this, I'll just say it. Hey, let's just go. Let's beat to the raw up. Me and Woody had a dispute at one time. And I felt like that he felt like, well, we just had a dispute, okay? We had a falling out with each other of how things was supposed to go. And
company kind of split.
Yeah, we kind of had a split. And so when we had a split, I guess I got a little bit high horse on myself. I'll just admit it. I felt like that I was doing more, and Woody in the background. I didn't see what Woody was doing, and so we kind of got into it together and got into a war. And I kind of jumped him a little bit from behind, and might have got him upset. Let's just put it that way.
He may have paid some people to beat up on me.
Yeah, I paid a few people to beat up on me. He might have outsmarted me there, and he might have paid some guys to come in, and some last guy beat me up at that time. He might have outsmarted me there. That was right there is when we had the big split right there. And so he had no big Cyrus. Cyrus is still pretty big. He's big in Japan right now. He's doing several tours over in Japan. That was the big guy that did the Monster Slam there.
He's over there right now.
Is he he's back over there?
Yeah, he's on another tour till November.
Yeah. So I once he did that, this was the little promo that I did, letting him know what I thought about it. So everybody's talking about how Logan and Woody, they've taken GPW back over. Let me tell you something, that's far from the truth. Logan, I'll just say it, you outsmarted me. You came back when I thought you would run and put your tail between your legs and never come back. But you did. You came back, you got with Woody, you guys came in and made me look like a fool. But you know, I've worked with Woody for year after year, trying to bring GPW to a level that nobody else could. And I did it. But with him holding me back. And then he wants to call me a jerk. You want to call me a jerk, Woody? Let me tell you something. I'm going to show you and the fans what kind of jerk I can be. This Saturday night, I'm not going to run from this match. I'm going to run to this match. And Logan Chase III, you better be ready for a fight, because I'm going to be. You know, you put Ray as special referee. That's fine. I've took him out once. I'll take him out again. But I've got a surprise for you. You and all your so-called friends. I'm not going to reveal it right now, but just wait till Saturday night. I'm coming to that ring. I will be there for a fight, and I promise you this much. When the end of that match is over, my hand will be held up victorious, and the real GPW will be back in charge again.
Boo!
I got to give that promo to Woody. He taught me to enunciate. That was Woody's word.
Enunciate, baby.
You want to make
Enunciate.
it real. He always said, if you want your promo to look real, enunciate, do some pausing, don't let it sink. Let it sink in. Just even he talks about that with wrestling. Let it sink in before you go over. So that was probably one of my better promos, and I learned a lot from Woody. Taught me a whole lot in wrestling, so that was what that was from.
That's
Well, I
awesome.
will say, Daryl, me and Daryl was like when we were in sync with each other.
Yeah.
We it was a good relationship because he was a good business man, and I was a good. I know the behind the scenes stuff,
Yeah. He knew
and
that.
we worked good. I know what was how it was supposed to get there, and I had a crew of guys that bought into what I taught them over the years, and Daryl helped financially to get stuff started. Plus, to help me manage money better because I'm horrible with money. So it was a good match.
And so from that match, what that match was a cage match that Woody tricked me into doing. And this was the result of the cage match. And that was me cleaned up very much. I gotta tell you, poor Woody, let's just say Woody don't have the best eyesight in the world.
Huh?
And over there at the desk, and I just I got hit with everything. Trash cans, trash can lid. And I got Woody I'll never forget this. I got Woody to stop and get some baking pans for this match also. He sees Brandy in. And she got some. I mean, they were thick. I got hit with that thing and it about knocked me out, man. I said, man, what was Brandon thinking? She must have got the thing. So he goes, that's what happens when you don't get your own stuff. You're relying on somebody else.
Yeah,
I got that stuff built to last. We didn't get that dollar store stuff.
Yeah, they went to Target because I remember exactly what he said. So, yeah, stop at Target. If you wanted something right, you just.
That's right.
You ever see the cartoon where the guy gets hit and birds just flying around his head? I ain't lying, man. I believe little birdies was flying around my head. And I was gushing. I mean, I was gushing. It was, and Logan goes and slams me against the fence right in front of Woody. Woody goes, not good enough. And he's doing this. I know what he wants to do. And I'm like, I'm bleeding all over the place. He can't see. And I'm just gushing. And it's all over. It was so bad. The guy that wrestled me was getting sick. He's coughing and gagging in there. And Woody's trying to get me cut even worse.
Yeah. I always said don't do something halfway. If you're gonna do it all.
I mean, I couldn't even see it was so bad. And the referee goes, "He wants you to get cut worse." I'm like, no. Oh, but it was a fun deal. I mean, we drew the most people we'd ever drew during that when Mid Hill was separated like that. It was just a ball. And
they'd get so mad, and I ain't coming back. Then they'd be 3 times as many the following week.
Oh, I got to show you
following
one
show.
more. Guys, I know we're making this drag out, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it. If they're not, I apologize. But we got several people. It's like, let me see. One I'm wanting to bring up is here it is. Now, these were the most loved wrestlers we had. Everybody. Those were the most loved. They went by the good old boys. And
yeah, them boys is money right there. I mean, that's the cash cow right there.
They come out to Cotton Knot Joe, and they would go around dancing with everybody. to the song Cotton Eye Joe. The kids loved them. Well, we put them in these match against the most hated wrestlers we had there, besides me. But anyway, which was what did
The
Talon?
movement.
The
The
movement.
movement.
Yeah, we called them bowel movement. The movement's what they went by, and I mean it was a just back and forth. And so the good old boys was trying to get the titles, and they couldn't ever do it. So the movement said the only way they would give them a title was loser leave town. And if they lost, they had to leave town. That was just it. They couldn't come back. Well, everybody just knew that they were going to win. No way that we was going to let them lose and have to leave town. Well, Woody said, Daryl, I said, they're going to lose. He goes, Daryl, we may lose every fan we got if you're going to make them lose. I said, they're going to lose. He goes, all right, I'm going to go with you. And this time I had to learn a lot, and Woody was letting me actually do the book and write the all the wrestling matches. And I said, Woody, I promise you it's going to work. He said, okay. And so they lost. Oh, my goodness. There was bottles being thrown. People were screaming, we're not coming back. Oh,
Chairs being thrown and just all it was.
kids crying everywhere. And I mean, they made a pitiful speech about, guys, we did the best we could. We love y'all. We got to keep our word. And they were like, we ain't coming back. It was all over the internet. We're never going back to GPS. We held it every 2 weeks in camp. We had one of the biggest crowds we ever had the next week. And so what happened? A new tag team came out, and they were for some reason they were in mask. And what was the name? What did we have a name? The Outback Boys or the Backwoods Boys? That's right.
Backwoods Boys.
They come out in the same in camouflage. They come out in camouflage overalls and a camouflage mask, and they come out as the Outback or the Backwoods Boys. All the fans went crazy. They were so happy. Now then, the movement's trying to unmask them to prove that was really the good old boys, and that was just a whole new storyline going. We had so much fun.
Man, they bought in all that hook, line, and sinker, buddy.
The funniest part was people knew that the outcome, everybody knows wrestling, the outcome is determined. But if we could get them, and Woody would put in a lot and help me too. I'm not going to say I just was the brain of all this because I was far from it, but Woody would
I'd pick it apart. I'd say this and this, and yeah.
And the guys in the back would help me too. But I forgot what I was going to say now. Where was I going with that, Woody? But anyway, I mean, it was just fun doing the storylines and seeing how they would come out. Oh, I know what it was. Well, the biggest thing was people knew it was that the outcomes were predetermined. But if you could get them to forget that and get them so into the match that when it was over with, they were upset, forgetting that it was set. You had them, and that's when you could really draw the people in because they'd tell somebody, and somebody tell somebody, internet. But that was always the thing, getting them to forget that it wasn't predetermining, and they would. I mean, they just buy into it. It was fun.
Darryl, do you remember that night that we had something going on? Oh, so and so is going to win this match. I've seen this before. Blah blah blah. You know, they just kept on, and then they were telling everybody, so and so is going to win this because this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. Blah blah blah. And I said, I'll show you son of a guns. We switched everything just to prove a point. And their jaws just dropped to the floor. It was so funny. It's like, yeah.
You could get the biggest thing, like Woody would say, you'd bring them up to a high, and then it's drop them. Bring them up to a high, and it's drop them. There's certain, and I ain't gonna talk about it because there's certain things that you could do, ways to do things that would ensure that certain things would work in the right direction. And it was just really fun doing it. So, but
Just like writing a book.
yeah, you had to have a start and you had to have a finish and you had to keep them interested all the way through it. And they were just things you wouldn't do and things you did do. It was basically rules in wrestling that you did and didn't do to get to the point you was trying to get to. I guess that's basically I could say that. But then we just got sort of we got older and it got so hard to do that we decided to make a change and we sold the company.
Yeah.
Who
We'd
was
had enough. I'd been promoting wrestling for a long time, and I was like, I actually got out first. And then Daryl got out after me, and then, well.
Well, and what happened was Woody wanted out for sure. Let's just explain what happened there. We was going to sell it. I actually paid Woody for his part, and I was selling it to a guy, which is a high guy, a really high guy now, QT Marshall. I don't know if you guys know him from AEW, but anyway, made a good run. He actually still works with them. He's mostly in the background now. A really good guy, really good mind. And this was just before he hit it big, and he was going to buy it, but he wouldn't buy it unless I agreed to stay on. I wouldn't have to touch any setup or anything, but I had to help do the matches and help write the storylines and stuff like that for about a year. So I agreed to do that. And then that got thrown in because he got in with Cody Rhodes and started signed a contract with AEW, and they would not allow him to do it. So then we wound up selling it to somebody else. And AEW, Georgia Premier Wrestling still goes today. So
They had a show last week.
Yeah, just had a show last week. So who we sold it to is still running it, and heck, he's asked both of us to work with him some, and we both just said, "Nah, we're not gonna go ahead." We got into catfishing, didn't we, Woody?
Yeah. I was just like, I dedicated about 35, 36 years of my life to wrestling. I was done.
Yeah. And you know, the I'll tell you who was the most happiest of everybody that we got out of wrestling. That was our wives.
Yes, they were.
They worked, but I will tell you, they stood behind us 100% and worked really hard with us.
Mm-hmm.
How long?
Yeah,
y'all
every
been
time
up
I
there?
say something about running wrestling, she's like, "You're gonna get divorced."
There ain't no way I'm asking. What was you saying, Randy?
How long ago did y'all get out of wrestling?
It's been about 5, almost 6 years now, ain't it, Woody?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So we had a great run. We made some really good money doing wrestling. Had a lot of fun, but it just was time. You know, I was in my 50s, and Woody's, you're what, 4 years younger than me? I think.
Yeah, I'm 57 now.
I'm 61, so 4 years. And it's just, and we ran the roads. We were all over. We were in Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I mean, we had a big 26 foot trailer, wasn't it? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it held a ring and what we call gimmicks, which was, I'm sorry, I get so used to, there's a ring talk, there's a wrestling talk, merchandise. Once you learn wrestling talk, it's hard to get it out of your system. So
yeah,
we sold merchandise.
One time we ran 13 road shows in 1 month.
Yeah.
And that's not just running shows. We had to go out and promote them and hang posters and do all the work. And that was a crazy month.
Yeah, you do. Like, what's your your favorite saying about shows?
Secret shows don't draw.
That's right. You can't go to a town and just expect people to come to the show. You got to work that town, and that's what people don't want to do. So
yeah, they don't want to put the work in. They want the glory, but they don't want to put the work in.
Yeah,
Right.
And that was always one full day. I mean, we'd go to a town and hang 100 posters. People think you just say you're coming and they show up. But I mean, even shows with TV that did TV went out and hung posters and stuff like that. So it was a lot of work people don't see that's behind the scenes, and the budget in it and stuff like that. So man, we went to Catfish.
I would spend 2 days booking a show.
Yeah.
Sometimes because it'd be like, oh, I'm busy that date. So then, who am I going to get to do this? Then it was just always, trial and error.
And what people didn't understand is when you do what we call storylines, which is you right now, like you'll be right, you got to write out like 6 months of this continuous story. Well, you got to book those same people that long, and man, to get people that you could trust to
Commit,
man. And then they couldn't come, and then you had to rewrite it and change up. I mean, it's just you actually wrote on the run. I mean, that night you might be in there. You knew what was supposed to happen that night, and something happened, or somebody couldn't show up. I mean, you might have 6 or 8 people that's running in this same storyline, and you'd have to rewrite because something.
I remember when Daryl first started, he showed up one night and he had everything all printed out, nice, neat. Yeah, here's the lineup tonight. And I'm like, I don't even know why you did that, Daryl. He's like, why? I said, because it's going to change. No, I said, it's going to change. So,
gosh, it was just a lot of work that people didn't understand. So, and a lot of stress. A lot. Look, when you go book a show and you book wrestlers and you book a place to wrestle, which is not cheap, and you put all the money in the concessions and all the money in merchandise, and you go up and you think you're going to have this many people, and you don't have enough people show up for the show to pay off, and that happens. Them wrestlers don't want to say, sorry, guy, I'll get you next time. Sorry, guy, I'll get you next time. And it happens. Yeah. You got to pay.
That ain't my problem.
Yeah.
Sounds like a problem.
Yeah. So we always made sure we had enough, especially when we did a big show, we had enough money saved back for if that show didn't make it, we had enough money to pay it anyway. And that's the biggest thing of why companies go out. People will spend their money that they made for this big show, and they do it again in another town and expect it to draw like that, and they don't do it. And we had that happen many times, didn't we, Woody?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times we might not lose money, but we'd like break right at even. And you put a lot of work in. You're flying in people, I mean, and we flew people in from California, all over the United States, and them flight bills are not cheap. Hotel rooms and all that stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and then we went to catfishing. And guys, I know this show's going a little long, but
we're good.
But I hope y'all.
Hey, hold on. Don't you mean that Woody went to catfishing and you went to netting?
Well, something like
Actually,
that.
Daryl did the corralling of the catfishing. He is like, yeah. He had a pontoon, remember? Wasn't it a pontoon you had to start with?
Yeah, I had a pontoon.
Yeah.
But, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no.
Pontoon.
Snagging whiskers. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I want Joe to tell. Was this the first time you went catfishing with me, or had you been?
Talking about in the pontoon?
Yeah. The night, that night. Was that the first night you went?
Me, you, and Ricky went first time. It was the second time we went. You and me and Tristan went the first time.
Okay.
The second night we went, me and Daryl, we went out to Lake Lanier. So we're out in Lake Lanier, and it was looking for a little rain that night, but we were out there fishing. They said, Daryl and Ricky looked down at his phone and said, it's going to rain just a little bit, but it's going to go over. Won't last for the minute. So Next thing I know, about 5 minutes later, there's this dang monsoon comes in. And I mean, I ain't never been in a storm like it. It was a tornado.
Yeah.
and the only thing kept us alive, we was tied off 2 big old trees on the bank. And son, we got soaked, we got blowed around and tossed. I was prepared to meet Jesus that night. Let me tell you, buddy. It happened so fast.
I don't know why you ever
Scared us to death.
I don't know why you ever went fishing with me again. That was.
I don't know why I about died 32 times fishing with him.
Hey, get this picture in your mind. We're on Lake Lanier in Georgia. This is where we're started out catfishing together. We're in a 28-foot pontoon boat that has a full hard cover on it, but we don't have any of the stuff on it, because it was supposed to just rain a little bit. Those winds were so hard when it would blow the boat, and we had to back off. We actually had to back with 2 big 26-pound anchors back there and tie it off the bank. When that wind would blow, it'd jerk it out so hard that the boat would just go wham and slam and stop.
Slam! I literally thought we were going to get picked up by a tornado that night.
Oh my gosh! And I knew me and you was fat enough. There wasn't no way that was going to happen. I thought we was going to get hit. I thought we were going to sink.
Poor Ricky.
Poor Ricky, Woody just sit there in this bench, sit there. Me and Ricky kind of got back in the back a little bit. I'm like, Woody, get back here. He goes, sitting right here, boys. I'm sitting right here. And if it wasn't 50-mile-an-hour winds, it wasn't a mile an hour, was it?
Yeah, it was bad. I was just like, well, good. Time to meet Jesus. I was like, here I am.
Did you catch any fish?
Go ahead.
Did you catch any fish?
Shut up. We went home, baby. We went home. We had been there, probably 30 minutes or something like that. We just got tied off. It got dark because we were flathead fishing in Lake Lanier. So we was going to be there all night. And I'm going to tell you, that was it. I don't know how long it lasted, but it felt like it lasted at least 30 minutes, didn't it, Woody?
Seemed like 3 hours.
Oh my God! We just whooped and get whooped and get whooped. And like I say, that big boat, it was had a solid roof on everything. It was just like a big kite out there, and just beat us.
Yeah, I thought I was done for that night.
Man, so. Got started fishing, and I found out about Chattanooga, and I said, Woody, I found out about Chattanooga, and there's big catfish up there. I said, I went once and did really good with Ricky, but I had to leave early because this is when my dad was in bad shape. I said, you want to go back up there? Oh, Woody's dumb as dirt. He's like, yeah, Darrell, I'm going to go fishing with you again.
You only live once, right?
He said, I want to go up there. I was raised up there, man. Let's go fishing. And we went up there first time that me and Hill went up there. We caught our PBs that very day, didn't we, Woody?
Yeah.
And that was a good day. And I was just, like I say, I'd got me a different boat at that time. I got
that skiff.
Skiff, that's what skiff, Carolina skiff, and it did pretty good. It wasn't quite big enough for me and Woody, but me. We're pretty big boys. I've lost a lot of weight, so it's pretty big boys. And that thing, you get over on one side, it just wasn't feeling good. But we caught a bunch of good fish out of that boat, didn't we, Woody?
Yeah, on ugly sticks too.
Yeah,
just ugly sticks and 5,000s.
Yeah, well, your PB Blue was caught out of that boat, wasn't it?
Yeah. We caught like the second time we ever went. We caught 2 50-pounders.
Yeah.
Second time we ever went.
Yeah.
And we was hooked then, buddy. We was like.
But fishing's not like it was back then. I'll just say that much right now. There's not as many big fish in there like there was. And there's still some in there, but man, 6 years ago, you could catch them every time you went. I mean, just
It wasn't nothing catching a 50-pounder every time you went. It was just like,
40. Yeah. So yeah, we fished and we caught but Woody caught some. Woody is the flathead king for sure. He ain't he. I'll guarantee you. You asked him right now. Let me ask you. Do you forgive Russ yet?
no.
Having that rod on the boat?
That left-handed rod with
Yeah,
20-pound test line on it.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna die.
We was just
I don't forgive Daryl that day either because he misnetted it that day. You remember that?
yeah.
I fought that dang fish for about 40 minutes on a left-handed rod with 20-pound test. I got it up there the boat, Daryl fixing to net it and hit it with a net. And that son of a gun took off again for another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die.
Well, it was
He had one job.
I had one guy. Oh, I could play that too. But yeah, I what happened was, man, the current was really strong that day, and we actually was on an anchor. We wasn't on spotlight because it wouldn't even hold it. And man, Woody fought that fish. And we was not. If I had it done again, I'd have made it a lot easier for Woody. I would have just let the anchor on the anchor ball and let loose and floated down the river to Bell fought it. But at that time, we hadn't been fishing long at all. It was probably about our 10th or 12th time going because we met left.
Yeah, we wore out when I caught that fish because we done caught about 22 or 23 fish that day.
Yeah,
and you know.
Yeah, and so I didn't have enough knowledge to know that I should have just let the anchor loose and floated down the river and let him fight it that way. We're sitting there on anchor. He's got a 53-pound flathead. It's just beating him to death. And then he gets it up there. And that current, I didn't realize that current was quite so hard. So when I went to get him, it hit him and jerked the net down where I couldn't get him. That current was so fast. So, of course, that thing took off again.
He took off like a madman, buddy. Fish did.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, Woody. I'm so sorry, Woody. I was trying. I didn't realize. He goes, and of course, Woody's like, hey, like he always is. It's okay, Daryl. We'll get him. He didn't get.
I thought he was going to break it. I really thought it was broke that time.
No, man. Well, finally got it up there, got it in the boat, man. That was a monster. So
good memories, bro. Great memories.
Yeah, and then we go to get fishing, and where he caught his Hondo was about a mile where you caught that flathead? No.
It might even about a half a mile.
Or a quarter of a mile, because you caught the flathead. Yeah, we know where you caught flathead. But anyway, so it was probably a quarter of a mile. Yeah, because it was So where he caught his PB flathead and where he caught his PB blue, well, I'll say his PB blue stayed 50-something pounds. He caught out of that Caroline's Gift till he caught the 100-pounder. Was probably not even a quarter of a mile from there, eighth of a mile probably. But you tell the story. I'm gonna shut up. You tell us your Hondo story.
And there we was, all eyes on Woody. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was a good day, man. Me and Daryl been out fishing that day, and it's been a pretty good day already. And Daryl said, I got a gut feeling. Let's go. Remember that? You said, I got a gut feeling. He goes, I just think there's some fish down there. So we went down there.
Of course,
Yeah, you know me. I'm like, sure, let's go. Because wherever he says to go, I'm gonna go. It's his boat. So we get down there and I fished a while, and we'd caught two right off the bat there. I believe, wasn't it about 20 pounders or something like that? 25 pounders.
Yeah.
Caught two there, and we only had, I think, 4 rods in at that time. Was putting them out. Daryl was putting the rod in.
Yeah, that was cat.
Yeah, he was putting the rod in, and I looked over to the left, and it was actually, he was up to bat. It was his turn, and I said, Daryl, well, there he goes, just get it, Woody. And I said, okay. And I went over and get it and he didn't do like a monster takedown or nothing. It was kind of like a flathead. It just kind of went down slow. And I snatched that thing up, man, and it didn't feel that big to start with. It felt like a 50 pounder or something like that, you know. I mean, it was a good fish, but it didn't feel like nothing I ever thought. Till I reeled on that thing about 10 minutes, and then it woke up. And that son of a gun, it's just like he anchored into a rock or something, like he was holding on to something, man, because I'd bring him up about 10 feet, and he'd take 10 or 15 feet back, and it was back and forth. And I got him up there. I probably got him up about 25, 30 feet off the bottom. And we sat there for a while. And about that time, Daryl got a bite. And he took off.
Now, Woody got a bite.
Yeah.
That should have been his pick. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that'd have been mine. Yeah. And so Daryl gets that bite, you know, and he's real knowing thing. He goes, and it's a good fish. And Daryl's like, Woody, I'm going to need some help. We're getting this fish. I'm like, buddy, you on your own here. I got my hands full because I was not about to let this fish get away. And I was just sitting there thinking the whole time, this line's fixing to snap. Oh, it's going to snap. I know it. And, you know, I'm working the drag and, you know, I take 10 feet and he take 20 feet. It just back and forth. Then Daryl went over and he caught it was 40 something pounds.
44, I think.
Netted it himself and stuff. And I'm still over sitting there playing tug of war with this 100-pounder. And so Daryl's gets that and he's like, well, we'll wait and take a picture of them together. And I'm like, if I can get them in kind of thing, you know. And so I fought that thing, another 20 minutes probably?
I don't
15,
know.
20 minutes.
Probably felt like it. Probably wasn't that long, but I'm sure it felt like it. Yeah.
So, man, I fought that thing and never did see it, you know, and I'm just like, Daryl, this is a monster. And I just kept saying that over and over. Daryl, this thing's a monster. I'm telling you, this is a monster. And, you know, he was under the boat, and we had some current too. And you know how hard it is to judge them with all that current sometimes, you know. A 20-pound fish will feel like it's 60 pounds sometimes in the current. I just like, I didn't want to say, I said, this is a nice fish there. I could tell it was nice. I was thinking 50, 60 pounds, you know. I was thinking, but I had no idea it was a 100-pounder. Then finally, he had to raise the motor up and this and that. And I got it up under the boat. I could see the leader and stuff, but he was still up under the boat. I finally got him, and Daryl reached in there and got him. And when he seen him, he was like, "Oh my God!"
That thing come out from underneath the boat and come up to the top of the water, and we both was like, "Oh my God!"
And,
you can see it on the video.
I never did see it till it got right there because he came from under the boat. Yeah. He was digging hard, man. Yeah. And then we got him in the net. Then they're like, "How we gonna get him in the boat?" They got that deep V, and they're like, "We're going to have to do it together." And we tried to get it the first time, and we went to pick it up, and we couldn't get it up. And I was like, "Oh no!" There was, "Come on one time." I said, "All right, on three. 1, 2, 3." And then we got it up there to the edge of the boat. We got it in, and man, it was just like surreal.
Yeah.
You know, still to this day, it don't seem real to me. You know, I mean, I know it's real, but it was just like, it's kind of like stunned. You know, have you ever been that way with something? You know, you're like, it just ain't real. It just don't seem real. You know.
But it is.
But, yeah. Then we're like, oh God, we got to weigh this big thing, you know. And it was
to weigh it even.
Yeah. It was a blessing, man. I got news for you. That's such a blessing.
Yeah. You were sitting there with that pictures being taken. You just looked like you just been whooped.
Oh, dude, I had been whooped, son. I done went 32 rounds with Abdul the Butcher. Son, that thing done beat on me. And there we was sitting there. It was unbelievable. We had sitting there almost 150 pounds worth of fish on the dang deck. It's just, with 2 fish, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And, man, I'll probably never ever catch another fish like that. And that's okay. I'm just blessed, and I hope Darryl gets one like that one day, because it was his turn. He put us on some good fish all the time. I know he catches a lot of slack, but he's real passionate about fishing, and he knows what he's doing. Don't want nobody to tell you no different, Darryl. Yeah.
Check your cash out, Woody.
Ain't bragging.
Oh, okay. Well, I will want to get off. But yeah, man, that's man, I love fishing. I ain't been around as much as I have been. I got my son in my life now, and he's taking up a little bit of my time, but I'm glad to have him. And Darryl understands.
Absolutely.
But man, I love fishing. You know what? I love a fish. If I catch a 10-pounder, I catch a 100-pounder. I'm just as happy with one as I am the other, man. I'm just as happy catching a brand.
Ho. Well, I could say, Woody, let's go to Tennessee and just catch bait. And what would you say?
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Dude, I just love fishing. I've always loved fishing since I was 6-7 year old, and I never thought in my life that I'd ever catch a 100-pound catfish. Never even thought even when we started hunting monsters, 50, 60 pounds is what I thought I'd ever catch. And in my life, I never thought I'd catch a 100-pound catfish, man. I'm truly blessed to be able to do that, and I love fishing, and I try to stay humble and just,
This is when I just get jealous. This is when I get jealous, and I'm going to turn against him again.
And just, man, I love fishing, and I just, I got a good friendship, me and Darryl, and
yeah.
I want my son to be passionate about fishing as I am one day. If he ain't, that's fine. But at least I got something I can share with him too. It's just been a great ride. And like I said, I ain't been doing it near as much. I just, like I said, I got things going different ways right now. But I still like to hop in the boat and go though when I get a chance.
Well, like you said, you got your son in your life, and I'm not upset about it. I know exactly where you're at. I had the kids in my life and couldn't do things with it, and do things with your family. That's you want your family, your kids, and your family to have good memories of you. Not Daddy went fishing and so me.
Yeah. My dad was always, gone because, I had good Lord give me a kid late in life, because when I was younger, if I had a kid, it wouldn't. My mind was somewhere else, and I was a wrestling guy then, and thank the good Lord give me a son late in life to, give me a chance to be a good father. So I just hope I'm going to try to do that.
Well, guys, I know it's getting late, but I want to play one more thing before we get out of here. If y'all ever hear me and Woody telling each other you had one job and you screwed
this
it
is
up.
I was going to ask you to play that.
Yeah. I'm going to set this up for you guys. This was during our wrestling days. This is a promo deal we did. And this was in one of our good storylines going. Our tag team guys were having a big feud with another tag team, and then the movement had turned against each other, which was Talon and Chip, and they were just jumping each other during matches and everything. And so this is when it came to a head, and they all came and started this. And so I'm gonna play this for you, where y'all guys, I wanted to lay that out where you know what was going on.
You had one job. One job. We're the champions.
Where's Talon? You've seen what just happened out there. I had to shut up, both of you. All of you, just shut up. You guys are going to defend the titles on the 20th, and I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm sick and I'm tired of you and Talon. 1 week he's jumping you, the next week you're jumping him. We're going to end this thing right now. Come the 20th, it's going to be a last man standing match. It'll be you and Talon in the last man standing match. It'll be you two against the Georgia Heat for the titles. Now that does it. It's over. It's done. Come on!
Classic.
That was the funniest. I think that was the funniest little promo we ever did. And that, guys, I will tell you something. We would talk about, like, for a promo, we'd say, okay, this is what we done. Nothing was written out or anything. That was the best promos we ever done was never just said, you say this, you say that. It was always play it by ear. And that was all played by ear. Nothing was written in that. We knew who we wanted to get to, and we just told the story like that. It was just, so if you ever see one of us go, you had one job and you screwed it up, that's where that comes from. You had one job.
I made a little clip out of that, by the way, where it's like 3 seconds long, and it's just him going to Daryl, "You're an idiot," and I'm like, I'm going to be using that in the future.
Oh, man. So I hope everybody's enjoyed that. I know we've read like 30 minutes, and I knew this was going to happen. We was going to run along. If anybody's got any questions right quick or wants to know anything about the past of the wrestler or anything, you can ask us now.
David.
Their question is, are y'all done yet?
No. David Hughes wants to know how long Woody's lived in LJ.
About 14 years, something like that. I lived in Blue Ridge some too. So 14, 15 years.
Between the two. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. I was sent this. Can you see who's laying there on the floor that's been beat half to death?
Yeah. Hey, that happened plenty of times, buddy. I'm telling you, they like to beat me up.
They did it so well.
Yeah. But I had so much fun doing that. I mean, I've always been the good bad guy, I guess. Good at being the bad guy and making people hate me. And man, it would just, you had to know how, and that's part of the storytelling. You had to do it. The one thing Woody always told me, don't let them touch you till this time or that time. You always had to basically, I mean, I don't know, should I talk about that or not, Woody?
Yeah, you had to make it worthwhile, I guess. Yeah.
If you got beat up every time you went out there, nobody cared.
Because they're expecting it.
Yeah, they were expecting it. So if they couldn't touch you, and out 3 or 4 months of they're trying to get your hands on, when they finally got your hands on you, it meant something. So
the big payday right there.
And that was, I will never forget the day Woody taught me that. And that's the thing. We'd go to other shows, went to another show, and this manager, I mean, they jerked him in the ring and they beat him from pillar to post and just beat the living slop out of him. And nobody popped or went crazy or anything. Woody goes, do you know why that happened? Why nobody cared he got beat up? He said, because he gets beat up every time he comes out here. So if he gets beat up every time he comes out, who's going to care that they got their hands on him? It's like, yeah, that's true. And so that was a good thing. Woody would take a moment, a teaching moment, and teach me that. And I would remember that for whenever he let me loose writing the stories. I remembered that. And man, so many times, like Logan Chase was a great heel manager. And so they come to me, well, we want to do this, Logan. I'd say, nope. And they'd get so mad. But I remembered what Woody told me. Yeah, you're going to get your hands on it, but it's going to be a payoff on down the road. And they probably got their hands on me about 4 times out of 5 years, but it always meant something for somebody got their hands on me.
Okay. And Gimpy wants to know, how many bottles of Just for Men did Daryl use back then?
I've never colored my hair. Well, I did one time, just a little bit,
Yeah.
but that was natural color right then.
Yeah, he's always been. I was like, I always got so mad at him.
Yeah.
I was like, dang it, why can't I do that?
he took it. He accused me of a butch tie color. I said, man, this is real. I mean, it's still pretty dark to be 61 years
He's
old.
like, ask Wanda. I'm like, okay. I was, yeah.
So, but we had a good time back there. So, Steve, I know you're a big lover of wrestling. Have you got anything you wanted to ask about wrestling that we could answer for you?
No, I don't know. I was just like watching him go down memory lane. That stuff was awesome.
Yeah,
I had no idea Woody did all that.
Yeah.
I've always claimed, I always said I've lived a rock star life, but I don't have a pot to piss in. But I've really, I've seen the world and got paid for seeing the world. And I just wish I'd have made some smarter decisions when I was making the good money. But it's been a good ride. I got no regrets at all.
And I don't regret anything that we did in wrestling. I mean, there's times that you hated that you didn't have a turnout like you wanted, but you learned lessons and you learned from that. And it was Woody would never get mad at me for mistakes I was doing when I was trying to do when I had the book, and he would tell me what I was doing wrong and help me out. But he let me have it pretty early, and we had
he adapted real well, and when I told him something, he took it and he listened. And that's a lot of people let their egos get in the way and their wants get in the way. Nobody's bigger than the show,
right?
And you got to do what's best for the show. And,
nobody's bigger than the pencil.
That's right. That's right. Nobody's bigger.
Hey, so do you still run into these guys on occasion?
Yeah, I some of them I do. Some of them reach out and talk to me all the time, or some of them just call me and want some blue moon and say, "Hey, let's go eat." But yeah, a lot of those guys are about out of it now.
Well, wasn't Woody inducted into some kind of Hall of Fame?
He's been inducted in a couple of them.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of them, and there's a big tournament they do in Chattanooga every year. They named the trophy after me because I've passed on a lot of knowledge over the years. I mean, I ain't yanking my own chain, but somebody was nice enough to share the knowledge with me, and I actually kept it, and it was my job to share it on. I shared it on with a lot of guys, and some of them took and ran with it, and some of them don't, And I've had some that didn't go with what I told them, and now I seen one here a year ago or so, and they're like, I wish I'd have listened to you then, But
egos are the biggest things in wrestling that you got to have one, but I don't know how to explain that. You got to really put yourself up here, but you got to know when not to have that ego too. I mean, like I was writing, but I always knew that I was not the guy that was going to wind up on top. You had to let that ego to where when you wrote that, they were going to get you. You were going to be got, and you were going to have to humble and ask people to forgive you for things you did. You had to be that way. And a lot of people wanted to be a bad person, and then when the crowd turned on them, then they couldn't take it. And it's just a lot of different. You're dealing with a lot of different people that have different thoughts and different ways, and you got to sort of figure out how they go and what they're going to do. I mean, and there was some guys that just couldn't handle it when the Georgia Heat they didn't like it. They thought they wanted to be heels till they were heels, and then they didn't like it, did they, Woody?
Some folks just don't get it, So, I mean, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. Some folks just don't get it, and weekend warriors, and they're going for that 5 minutes of fame, you know. But a true professional gets it and knows that the show is bigger than they are, and that's one of the things, you know, that I always tried to preach, you know. And sometimes you had to run the back with a stiff fist, you know, to get your point across, you know. So
one time I thought I was going to have to get Woody a Snickers bar. I wanted to say, and it was probably the second or third show we'd done. Man, he was mad in the back. He was fussing. He cussed these guys. And man, I was like, hey, we need to break this somewhere, because I knew we had to then get back to the show. And I almost said, Woody, you're just not yourself without your Snicker bar. You want me to go get one? But I was afraid to tell him. Oh, God.
Yeah. Let's think about the wrestlers. Yeah, you had to have that one guy in the back to be in charge, and you know, sometimes it wasn't a pretty job because you're dealing with a locker room full of egos.
Yeah.
So it can be ugly.
Yeah, I actually had a guy one time that I was trying to book, and this is no lie. Woody, you go remember this, you go laugh. He told me I was going to book, he said, okay, if I go under, if I lose, it's this price, but if you'll let me win, it's cheap. It was like $25.
Cheaper, yeah.
He was cheaper if I would let him win than if he had to come and lose. I was like, you know what? I don't think I need you. See you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what I told him. I said, it's not. I mean, that's what you can't go with that. I mean, it's you got to know that even if you're losing, there's going to be a time where there's a reason for that, and you're going to get up. And they just didn't have the patience.
We had one famous wrestler told us one time that we couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
So, hey, what would you come up here for? And Daryl trying to book him, and like, you can't afford me.
And his protege is the one that asked me to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they trained him, and he said, we've always wanted to have a match, and I'm not going to call the wrestlers right now. He gave me his number and everything. And so I called him. I said, hey, so-and-so told me to call you, that y'all always wanted to have a match together, and I wanted to book you and see if we could do it. And he's like, well, buddy, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know your organization, never heard of your organization. You probably can't even afford me. I was like, okay, thank you. Oh, man. But I've heard from a lot of people he just was hard to work with. So I don't even know if I still got his number or not. That makes me wonder if I even got it or not.
Yeah, he's hot on TV again now.
Is he?
Not wrestling, but
yeah. Oh, yeah. AEW. That's right. I guess he's still with AEW, right?
He's actually doing a coach thing for WWE.
Oh, okay. All right. I know he's worked with AEW for a while there.
Yeah, he's back in WWE now.
I knew he's getting kids over and stuff. Anyway, guys, man, I appreciate everybody's hung in here and listened, and the going from pro wrestler to Hondo hunter. I like that. It was actually a Hondo catcher. Woody, I love you. You know I do, and I know you got family things going, and hey, I get that. Raise your kids.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get back out there and fish some in a little bit one day.
That's right. I just appreciate you letting me share my stories.
There you go. Man, look at that. They done knocked me out there. Woody, why'd you let them knock me out even?
Well, that's for all the times I wish I could knock you out.
We even got his wife mad one time at me.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't tell her what we was doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell nobody.
Yeah. Man, I was just talking so bad about Woody. I was in the ring, man, and I was talking so bad.
Oh, yeah, it was good because it's like Darren was booking wrestlers that I would have never booked, and that's why people bought into it.
Yeah.
Because like when you book Paul,
Yeah.
it's like I hated Paul. And it's like people, and even the guys in the back were like, "Oh my God, he booked Paul," and it was like they just bought into it, you know.
Oh, but man, she was like, I was so mad. I couldn't believe he was saying them things about Woody because I was making it true. I mean, I was making it so real.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, it was like, man, she was so mad.
It's like watching Jerry Springer, buddy.
Yeah. But y'all got to understand some of the things I was saying. Some of the things was real life stuff.
Personal,
and I told Woody
yeah.
I was going to say it. I told Woody and he knew it was going to happen, but I didn't think about him not telling Brandy.
Oh, I didn't tell her nothing.
Woody had to tell her that he knew he was there, and she calmed down and everything. She told me that night. She said, "Man, I was so mad at you for telling her."
He's running in them jaws, and she's over with her dang draws, dropped to the floor, buddy. She's just like,
because her and my wife, they would run the they was like Brandy or my wife would take up the money at the door, then they'd come in and run concession stands or the merchandise and stuff. And this was like way out during the program, so I'm sure she wasn't running the door at that time, and she was in there working at the concession stuff. Man, I was laying it on thick on the and he didn't tell her nothing about it. I mean, I was bringing up some rough stuff. Oh, man. All right, guys. Y'all got anything else? Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Thank you, Woody, for joining us, buddy. I appreciate you. You know, I love
my
you.
pleasure. Love you too, buddy.
Randy, you got anything?
Steve, appreciate y'all.
Thank you for a great show, Woody. Thank you for coming in and being our guest tonight. The stories have definitely been great.
Well, I'll tell you something when we get together sometime. I'll tell you some of those not so family friendly.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
That was for my time.
Man, that was just great to take two of the best things and merge them together.
There you go. Buddy, I take your hat off to you, Woody. You was a great teacher, and man, you taught me so much. I appreciate that you did, and man, let me in somewhere you didn't have to let me in, and we had so much fun.
I'm glad I did, and thanks. You taught me a lot too. Not about just wrestling and business, but you taught me a lot about fishing and hunting.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that.
All right, buddy. Well, be ready Friday because it's gonna be awful hot. We gotta go there.
Oh yes.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We love you. Hey, we hope we'll see you next week. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hey, we'll see you next week for not just another catfishing show or not just another fishing show. So, till then, we'll see y'all guys. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.